Welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie, keeper of my home, and if you've never been to my channel before, well, I have a real passion for homemaking. I create videos on simple living, homestead grown, and all things home. This is the first week of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. I'm going to cover what we had this week, so curl up, grab a cup of tea or hot cocoa. You can see we're still a little bit decorated for Christmas because we have a couple of grandchildren that live downstate and they weren't up here during the Christmas season, but they're up here this weekend. I haven't seen them yet. They got up really late last night, so we left things decorated just so that we could have Christmas with them. This week was a little different where it was New Year's week, but that's okay. We get some dinner meals in here. We don't typically eat lunch. If we do, it's usually leftovers from the night before. I started on Tuesday and ended on Friday. Today is Saturday. This video will come out tomorrow for you on Sunday. So let's start with the first meal on Tuesday.
Day one is stir fry. Now this, I feel like, is one of the easiest meals you can make when you want to use up what's in your refrigerator, any leftovers, or all those vegetables that are in the bottom of your freezer, which is a little bit of what we did. First thing we did was my husband heated up a cast iron pan with a little bit of oil, and he also put some of his favorite it's like a barbecue sauce type thing. It's like a Japanese stir fry sauce. He loves that stuff and it has very good flavor. This is some beef that we found in the back of the freezer that absolutely needed to come out. And sometimes that's what happens. You find things in the back of your freezer that get lost, drop down through, So we pulled that out. We had fried that up. He browned it all up really good, and then he pulled it out and put it in a separate bowl, adding the vegetables to the juices in the bottom. So it's just gonna stir fry these up. They're not completely cooked through, but they are tender, and they're all covered in all of the juices from the meat and the sauces and everything. And these are vegetables that we've had in our refrigerator that need to be used. The pea pods are from our freezer. They definitely needed to be used. And we always have rice on hand. That is one of our pantry staples. So we're cooking some rice along with this dinner. The mushrooms are left over from an appetizer that we had over New Year's. And we always have cashews. We always have cashews in the house. So adding that meat back in, just stirring that all up, mixing it all together, and voila. That was one of the simplest meals that you could make. You could make this with anything that you have in your refrigerator or freezer. It doesn't have to be all of these things. It can be a couple of these things. Doesn't it look delicious? This was a very good meal. Second day, we have shepherd's pie. So we're going to do this a little bit different than we typically do it, but it's all going to come out great. This is meat burger that we bought on sale. We buy it in bulk, bring it home, and we throw it into the freezer in 1 pound packages. So we're adding some onions and garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, and a little bit of smoked paprika. It's a little bit of a twist. We've never really done it this way before, but Joe said a little bit of smoked flavor would be good. So once that is all browned up, we're going to drain it. We're going to put it into a baking dish, whatever size fits whatever amount you're making. And for the top, we're going to add potatoes. These are potatoes that I canned. I'm so excited to use them. This was the first time we ever canned potatoes. So Joe's going to drain them out. There's a lot of starch in there. I kind of overcooked them when I was canning them, but that's okay. They came out great. I think Joe was a little bit skeptical as to whether or not they would, whip up to put on the top, but they did not disappoint. Okay, so this is where the little bit of the twist comes in. We're adding layers of cheese. So we're going to add some shredded mozzarella. I buy that in bulk and shred it myself. It's a lot cheaper. Your dollar stretches there, so try doing that. We add both whole kernel corn and cream style corn. We buy the cheapest canned corn we can buy. That is not something I grow, so I do not can it myself. The potatoes have been whipped up, and he's putting those on top, just spreading those around and adding more cheese, because who doesn't like more cheese? This was, again, a very delicious meal, and I feel like your penny stretches on this one. This is a very inexpensive meal to make as long as you get the beef on sale. On our third day, we have pork roast and vegetables. My husband is down in our downstairs pantry gathering up some potatoes and some carrots. These are carrots we grew in our garden. We just clean them all up and put them in Ziploc bags and store them in our refrigerator, and they'll last us for months. Last year, our carrots lasted us for almost 9 months. So we're going to have those, and we're also going to grab a jar of mustard pickles. These are our favorite pickles, and they go great with a roast. We are going pretty simple with our seasonings. You can add whatever seasoning you like. We are adding salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and an applewood rub. Now, once the pork roast is all browned in a pan, we use a combination of olive oil and butter. Once that is all browned, we've removed it, put it aside, and we are going to just kind of pan fry our vegetables a little bit. We like when they get all the bits and the flavors in the bottom, from the bottom of the pan. They taste so good. And look at those onions. Yeah, can't beat caramelized onions. So that just adds a little bit more flavor to your roast. So once those are all done, we're going to add the roast back to the pan along with all of the vegetables. Just going to grab all of those flavors, add a little bit of water. Don't want your roast drying out. Look at that. Doesn't everything look good? Now we're going to put this in an oven. Now we've got it about 325, low and slow. Any roast you cook, you want to do it low and slow. It's when you're going to get the best flavor and you're going to get the best pull apart, fall apart roast that you've ever had. It's going to taste delicious. So you'll notice in the oven, I also have a blueberry banana bread in there. That's dessert for later. This took probably a couple of hours. I think we had it in, and look how good it looks. It literally fell apart, and it was so delicious. All those flavors, all those little bits from the bottom of the pan, and we grew all the vegetables and the roast we bought on sale. One of my favorite parts of this meal is that it's a one-dish meal. Love those. It's so much easier. Here's a picture of it all plated up alongside a slice of homemade white bread. It's Friday night, our fourth meal of the week, our quesadillas. Now, this is a very easy meal. For one of them, we are using smoky peach whiskey chicken that I canned, some black beans, and a little bit of shredded cheese. Just putting that on top, pan frying it, flipping, pan frying a little bit more until it's golden. And for the other one, we had two of them. We are doing the leftover stir fry. We just put the leftover stir fry in there, and look at that. Add a little bit of cheese. Cook it the same way. We did use a smaller frying pan to put inside the bigger frying pan just to kind of press it down. This meal is a great way to stretch your dollar. It's budget friendly, it's easy, and it's kid friendly.
So that's a great meal for you to be able to use up what leftovers you have in your refrigerator, or things that you need to pull out of your freezer, such as vegetables that you might want to use. I love doing quesadillas. You can kind of call them dump quesadillas because you can pull anything out of your refrigerator or freezer and put them in there. It's just a matter of taste, whatever you want to put in there. I mean, we did leftover stir fry with a little bit of cheese and they were excellent. The kids loved them. So, you know, this is a great way to stretch your dollar. It's a lot of fun. It's good to have at the end of the week. You clean your fridge, like I said, your freezer, and that's what this pantry is about. The Three Rivers Challenge is a way for you to use what you have in your food stores without having to shop outside of your home. We're all on a very tight budget, especially today. We need to try and stretch our dollars as much as possible. It's not easy for anyone, and I'm here to help you be able to find ways to stretch your dollar by showing you these What We Eat in a Week videos. There's a lot of different things that you can have throughout the week. It's not always easy to figure out what to have for a meal. Sometimes, you know, you may only have a couple of ingredients and you're thinking, how in the heck am I gonna make a meal? I am going to challenge you to, you know, try something you've never done before. Mix and match things you wouldn't typically mix and match. And soups are a great way to throw a lot of things in together. Stir fries are a great way to throw them all in together. Quiches, quesadillas, tacos, pizzas, galettes. They're all inexpensive ways to make a meal stretch. A meal plan is a good way to also, it's budget friendly because you're planning out. And I'm going to encourage you to plan your meals because you do save money that way. Now, when you sit down to do your meal planning, plan in a way that if you're roasting a chicken, then later in the week you're going to have a chicken stew or a chicken pot pie or both if you have enough chicken left over. You know, if you're going to have a roast, have something that will stretch that roast along. There's so many different ways that you can do this, and I encourage you to try that with whatever it is that you have in your refrigerator or your freezer. I hope you enjoyed this week's meals. Next week I will have another video out, and I'll try to throw a few breakfasts in there as well. Typically lunches we do leftovers, but breakfast and dinner, I'll try to do that for you next week to give you a little bit more of a mix. So I hope you enjoyed this again, and I hope to see you next week. So until next time.